Hi guys, and thanks for stopping by Hooked for Life with Mary Beth Temple. Please subscribe to the channel for more videos on sewing, crocheting, knitting, crafting, and anything else I can think of. And thanks for stopping by. So in this video, we're going to take a look at this basket kit. Now what you get, here's the coolest thing that you get. You get this basket base. Now these products are from my friend's Macaroni Yarn in Turkey, and these are wooden bases that are laminated, so they're hard and they're water resistant, although they're not waterproof, so you don't want to soak them. But if you spill on it, you know, you have your cosmetics on it in the bathroom, you have your maple syrup on it on the kitchen table, you can just wipe that off clean. And it's pre-punched with the holes around there, so you can crochet into the holes and make these cool baskets. So what you're going to get in the kit, or you can buy the parts separately on Etsy, and I will try and get the links going there soon, but I'm trying to do everything at once. The laminate has the logo on one side but not on the other, so you can hide it depending on what kind of a project you're going to make. So if you purchase the kit from me, you get one of these. This is 8 inches across or 20 centimeters, and then you get one skein of the yarn. The current colors I have are this denim, which is a light blue with a silver thread. I have the chocolate, which is a dark brown with the copper thread, and I have the cream, which is cream with a gold thread. I will be getting more colors in, but those are the 3 that I have right now. Sorry for knocking the camera. And then you will also get the pattern written out in both UK and US terms. And of course, we're going to go ahead and make the basket right now in the video. But do be aware, you can customize this very easily to make it look how you want it to look, and we will talk about that as we go on. And you can also, just FYI, purchase the bases separately. If you want to try and use your own yarn, you can also purchase just the base. But this video is about the kit. So let's get started and make a project. I'm going to start with a standing start, by which I mean I'm going to put a slip knot on the hook, and I'm going to just start stitching. I am not going to try and join the yarn with a slip stitch and then chain 1 and all that nonsense, because I don't want to see it, and this is just easier in the long run. I'm going to work with the logo of the basket towards me, because when I have the basket finished, I don't really want to look at the logo, and this will put it on the bottom of the work. So I've inserted my hook in the hole, I've brought it through, you know, I've yarned over and brought it through, and then I'm going to finish the single crochet in the US, double crochet if you're in the UK. And of course, if you purchase this kit off my website, which is hookedforlifepublishing.com, and I'll have a link there. They're currently in the Etsy shop. Then you will get a printed version of this pattern in both US and UK terms. You may also notice I'm crocheting over the tail. That's because it's really annoying to try and find a way to end it off later. So crochet over it so you don't have to cope. So through the hole, yarn over however you have to do that, because remember, it's not, because this is solid, it's not going to angle like a piece of fabric does if you're crocheting into a piece of crochet. And we're not going to get crazy about gauge. The whole point of using this smaller hook is because it fits. So I'm going to single crochet in the US, double crochet in the UK, all the way around. So look, this is where we were, and what's going to happen after this round is done, I'm going to push this up, and we're going to crochet up over it. So going in this direction keeps that raw edge covered. Now, there are other ways to do this if you like to see that, but I generally don't. I want it nice and covered, and so this is how I did it. So I'm going to finish this round and join the round with a slip stitch in the first stitch, and then I'll join you for round 2. While I'm stitching away, I just want to add, you get much less twist in your yarn pulling it off the cone if you let it roll like this. So sometimes I put it in a bowl or a shoebox or a little tray or something like that. If you pull it off the top of the cone, it works fine, but you get a lot more twist in the fabric, and a lot of people don't like that. So I just wanted to make that little point about rolling it off the cone, and I'm going to keep going. Now that we have gotten one stitch in every hole and gone all the way around, and we joined the round with a slip stitch in that first single crochet in the US, double crochet in the UK, we're now going to put rows 2 through 5. So 2, 3, 4, 5, that's 4 rows. And we're just going to work in the stitches we've already got, except we're going up many hook sizes to make the work, you know, just to make it easy to work with. Now I used a 9mm, as you can see. You may need to play around a little bit and see which size hook works for you, but I found for me the 9mm is the best. You can't keep working in that smaller hook, or what's going to happen is that the work's going to pull in and is not going to look nice. But now we're just crocheting like we normally do. So of course this first row is going to be a little fiddly because you're putting a big giant hook in a stitch made by a much smaller hook. But you can do it. I have faith. Now I'm going to make the sample the way that I made the basket for the pattern. But you'll see once you get going, you can really do whatever you want. You can have taller stitches or shorter stitches. You can use pattern stitches. I'm using I'm putting a row of taller stitches and mesh so that I can work my ribbon in. And I have that sort of on the middle of the side, but if you'd rather have it higher up or lower down, that works too. Or more than one. Honestly, once you get the hang of how this all goes together, you can do it however you want and it will work. And you can get very creative with it. And while of course I think that using the stars from Macaroni Yarns is the best way to go, you can also just grab one of these bases and experiment with yarn you have in your stash. There might be other things that you have, and you might have to combine some because you do want some thickness. If you don't have a thick, sturdy yarn, then the sides are not going to stand up properly, right? And you want them to stand up on your own. But you can see we're starting to grow up the sides. And once again, I did the stitches the way I did them to cover up that raw edge because I don't like to see it. So I'm going to go ahead and make a few more rounds of single crochet in the US, double crochet in the UK, and then I'm going to come back and we're going to look at the mesh row that I put in, or round rather, the mesh round that holds the ribbon. Okay, my first 5 rounds are finished, and let's talk about gauge for a minute. So you can see that the walls of my basket are standing straight up and they're sturdy, they're not flip-floppy. So for me, the 9mm was the hook to use. If your basket is pulling in and you don't want it to, then your hook size is too small. You could go to a larger hook. Alternatively, if you want to stay with the gauge you have because you like the fabric, you can increase a couple of stitches after that first round. So you would just rip back, leave the first round alone, and increase a couple of stitches. Conversely, if it's flowing outwards, if it's pulling out, if it's belling, and that's not what you want, your two choices are to go down to a smaller hook size or decrease some stitches on that round down here. And of course you can play with going in and out and different hook sizes and different numbers of stitches to make something sculptural. Really, the sky is the limit with this stuff, and it's a lot of fun. So now, okay, so let's take a look at that 6th round. I'm going to chain 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and that chain 4 is going to count as a double and a chain 1 in the US, a treble and a chain 1 in the UK. So this is the stitch I'm joined into. I'm going to skip the next one and stitch in the next one. So whether that's a double or a treble depends on if you're in Louisiana or London, but you know what I mean. And then from here out, we're going to chain 1, skip 1, stitch in the next stitch, double in the US, treble in the UK. And we're going to do that all the way around. And this provides the mesh row that I'm going to weave the ribbon in later. Now, what if you didn't want a mesh row and you didn't want any fussy ribbon in here? Don't do this row. Just keep going with your rounds of singles or doubles depending on what country you're in and what stitch makes you happy. Coming up to the end of the round, I have 1 stitch left that I'm going to skip, chain 1, and slip stitch in the 3rd chain of that beginning chain 4, leaves that 4th chain to act as a chain 1. So now moving on to the 7th round, we are going to chain 1 and single crochet in the US, double crochet in the UK in the same stitch as the round join, and make the same stitch in every chain 1 space and stitch around. So it's single crochet in the US, double crochet in the UK, and we're going to work all the way around. 1 in the space, 1 in the stitch, 1 in the space, 1 in the stitch, and we're going to come all the way around, and we're going to have the same number of stitches that we started with, which I'm pretty sure is 48. And then rows 8 through 11, so 8, 9, 10, 11 are the same as round 2. So either double or in the US or treble, single in the US, double in the UK, make more rounds of that and join. And then the 12th round is our little scalloped edging. So I'm going to put some more single crochet rows on here and come back and we will take a look at the edging. All right, we're getting ready for the 12th and final round. Now, as you can see, we have a fair few yards or meters left. So if you wanted, again, to play with the yarn a little bit, put a couple extra rows, change up what the rows are, you've got a fair amount of yardage left. Also, if you're concerned that you're going to run out because your gauge is different than mine, not to worry. I think you'll have plenty. So, 12th round, chain 1. Double crochet in the same stitch as round join if you're in the UK, single in the US. Skip 2 stitches, 1, 2. 5, double in the US, treble in the UK in the next. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, then we're going to skip 2 more and stitch in the next stitch, single in the US, double in the UK, and then skip 2 and make the 5-stitch shell. So we're going to do that all the way around. So you're going to skip 2, make a shell, skip 2, do a single stitch, skip 2, etc. all the way around, and then we're going to join that at the beginning and end off. And after that, all we have to do is put in our foofy little ribbon. And here she is. We have our little ribbon that I have woven in and out. I like the satin ribbon. The grosgrain is what I happen to have nearby. The satin kind of scrunches up, which I like. So I've gone in and out the holes, and then here is our scalloped edging. Here's the inside. Remember, this is water resistant, not waterproof, so feel free to spill cosmetics on it or maple syrup, and you can wipe it up, but I wouldn't, float it in the hot tub. Anyway, thanks so much for joining me. I'm hoping you had a great time here on Hooked for Life with Mary Beth Temple. There will be links in the description box on where you can buy all these fabulous things. But whether you purchase them or not, I hope you had a great time being here, and I would love it if you would like this video or subscribe to the channel. We have new content coming out all the time in knitting, crocheting, macrame, and general crafts. Thanks so much for stopping by. Goodbye.